Are your ulcerative colitis symptoms proving difficult to manage? Tremfya guselkumab can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. At 1 year, many patients taking Tremfya achieved clinical remission, and some patients also achieved endoscopic remission. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor if Tremfya can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more, or visit tremfyaradio.com.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
Empower. Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Om Namaste.
ZPG Ice Maidens.
Hello and welcome to ZPG Ice Maidens, the only dedicated Women's National Ice Hockey League podcast.
Part of the ZPG network of UK ice hockey podcasts.
We're in partnership with the Hockey Arca, hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best
and hated by the rest.
Listen to the ZPG network.
Get a 10% discount on everything
at hockeyartclothing.co.uk.
Just enter the code ZP10 on checkout to get your discount.
We're also part of the Sports Social Podcast Network,
the biggest sports podcast network in Europe,
boasting over 450 podcasts
for more than 15 different sports.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of ZPG Ice Maidens. We've a lot to get through this week as we catch up on the previous couple of weekends' action, but we start this week with some news headlines. Kilmarnock have announced their intention to launch an under-16 side, with the first training session set to take place in the next couple of weeks. Kilmarnock Lightning will be the girls' team of Kilmarnock Junior Ice Hockey Club. As a club who are proud to be inclusive to all, creating a dedicated girls' team to work alongside their existing teams is a huge step on Kilmarnock's drive to provide a pathway for girls in ice hockey. The Galleon Centre has long been a proven breeding ground for top-quality players, with the likes of Ruby Newlands and Megan Craig, to name but two, to have emerged from the area in recent years. Both players have been announced as part of a new coaching setup too, with Megan taking care of goaltending training. The new girls team is an incredibly exciting opportunity to be involved in, she said. It provides an amazing platform for girls in hockey to come together, develop their skills and grow the women's game. The Lightning are thrilled to introduce the coaching team of former GB women's player Eleanor Callahan, who's head coach, and current GB women's player Ruby Newlands as the assistant. Eleanor commented, "I'm incredibly honoured to be named head coach of Kilmarnock Lightning, the first ever girls ice hockey team in the club's history. This is a huge step forward for the sport in Scotland, and I'm excited to help build a programme that focuses on excellence, development and success. My goal is to create an environment where players can grow in confidence, skill and passion for the game while paving the way for future generations of female hockey players. Kilmarnock Lightning is here to make its mark, and I can't wait to get started." Ruby added, "I'm really excited to be part of this. The new girls team is a big step for the women's programme in Scotland and a great opportunity for young girls in hockey." Kilmarnock Lightning will begin with the under-16s age group. In other news, it's been quite a busy couple of weeks for transfers and new signings, with Lydia Lutwich moving Elite League clubs, perhaps the biggest surprise of all. Lydia, who is based in the Northwest, will continue playing for Kingston Diamonds in Division 1 and for the Bradford Bulldogs in the under-18s, but she will now play for Solihull Vixens in the women's top tier, a move that I am sure will prove to be productive for one of the most exciting young players in the country. Another player announced by the Vixens is that of Grace Garbett, who until this season had been a regular for the West Midlands outfit. Despite suffering injury problems last year, the perennial goal scorer signed with top Austrian side Lakers Carnton. But with their season now over, the opportunity has presented itself for Grace to return to her former side and get some much-needed ice time under her belt as she works towards full fitness ahead of next season. Young forward Cadence Deer has joined Elite League side Guildford Lightning on a two-way deal with the Firebees. Cadence is a quick and hard-working player, and understandably Guildford are very excited to have her on board. I'm really excited to start my new journey playing with this great group of talented girls, Cadence said this week following the announcement of her signing. Streatham are excited to announce that GB under-16 goaltender Ida Oxenon is joining the Storm for her debut season in the Women's Elite League. Over the past 3 seasons, Ida has honed her skills under the expert guidance of goaltending coach Richard Kozelnicki, and she's eager to take on this new challenge. Her dedication, passion and steady improvement promise to make her a valuable asset on the team. Welcome to the Storm, Ida. We can't wait to see you in action, and spoiler alert, you won't have to wait long. Huge congratulations go to Chelmsford after several of their newest team members have been selected to represent England under-15s in Lithuania in May. Lilith Wright, Freya Price, Tilly Howe and Zinnia Quilter. Well done, girls. We are all super proud of you, said the club. During Haringey's most recent game, the club was raising money for a very special charity close to the Greyhounds' hearts. St John's Hospice is an amazing charity that does such great work, taking care of people when they need it the most. Greyhounds volunteers were seen walking around with buckets to take any cash donations that will go directly to a charity. Huge well done to Haringey there. We start our roundup looking at the Elite League, and in the final weekend of February, Queen Bees were unable to complete their game at home to Streatham after a serious injury to Storm's Angela Taylor saw the contest end early. Taylor took a stick to the throat halfway through the game and lay prone on the ice for some time. Spectators were asked to leave the arena and the game was abandoned before paramedics took her to hospital for further treatment. Everyone from Ice Maidens would like to wish Angela all the best in her recovery and that the injury is not as serious as first feared. As for the game itself, Millie Georgie gave the Queen Bees the lead at a minute 28 in before Isabel Bennett made it 2-0 off a Rebecca Voslinski feed later in the opening period. Norwegian Leah Flahr made it 3-0 early into the second period when she scored from Amelia Williams and Estelle Ip. The game will be recorded as a win for the Queen Bees. The following weekend saw the Queen Bees grind out a 4-3 win away to Kingston Diamonds. Suzanne Antalmi gave them the lead 5 minutes in from Rebecca Voslinski and Talia Davidson-Wright. But 49 seconds into a middle session, the Diamonds drew back level, Holly Cornford firing home from Katie Marsden. Queen Bees were back ahead at 32-41 when Louise Adams scored from Ellie Wallace and Hannah Byram for a 2-1 lead. The home side got off to another good start in the final period, Anya Kadievich firing home from Gemma Wallace. But the Queen Bees took a third lead of the game soon after when Estelle Ip scored from Rachel Cartwright. In what was an exciting final 20 minutes, Kingston levelled for a third time, Danny Newlove netting from Millie Fulbourn and Katie Marsden to make it 3-3. However, Queen Bees were not to be denied and were thankful to Catherine Gale for scoring a power play winner inside the final 7 minutes of the game when she scored off a Rachel Cartwright assist. Queen Bees' player of the game went to Rebecca Voslinski. Solihull Vixens left for capital with 2 more points in the bag after overcoming Streatham Storm 3-1. In what was a scrappy game, Vixens, much like their title rivals Queen Bees, ground out another win on the road. Katie Henry gave the Vixens a lead 3 minutes in from Jodie Alderson-Smith before Sarah Hutchinson doubled the advantage at 29-49. Jodie Alderson-Smith then made it 3-0 with little over 8 minutes to go when she scored on a power play from Henry's assist. A minute later, Christina McLean scored on a power play for the Storm to ensure a tense final few minutes, but Solihull were able to see the game out to move another 2 points closer to a third league championship in 4 seasons. Ida Oxenden, yes, that Ida Oxenden, made her debut in the Storm net and stopped 47 of 50 shots faced in what was an impressive debut. In spite of tired legs from their long road trip to Whitley Bay the day before, Guildford Lightning pulled a huge result out of the bag with an important 4-1 win over Streatham. The South London side had taken a 4th-minute lead when Gillian Fales scored from Zuzana Dobrowolna and Laura Cope, but the Lightning hit back during a 12-minute spell either side of the second intermission. Beth Hill brought her side back level at 35-43 when she netted from Katie Edgington and Mila Peroni, before Laura Sear put the Lightning in the lead a couple of minutes later from Izzy Eggington. Izzy Jajinska scored 3 minutes into the third period from Ellie Porter, before Katie Edgington made the result safe when scoring at 47-48 from Beth Hill and Zara Berwick. Kiva Parsons was named Lightning Player of the Game. The Whitley Bay Beacons elite team claimed a first win of 2025 last weekend when they clinched a must-win game at home to Guildford Lightning. It was also a first-ever win on home ice against the Lightning, and just the second time that they have beaten that particular side ever in the women's top flight. Coming into the game, Whitley were without forwards Cassie McGregor and Evie Tyndale, while Heidi Dunn was a miss from the blue line. They did, however, make a major change to the lineup, moving player coach Steph Towns and team captain Abby Coulshaw onto separate lines, with Becky Kastner-Wood moving up to centre Abby's line with Ruby Newlands and Steph playing between Danielle Turnbull and Emma Lamberton. The move had the desired effect when the home side took the lead at 16-48, Danielle Turnbull combining to perfection with their new line mates when putting home Steph Towns' rebound. Guildford, who have seen their roster change on an almost weekly basis this season, were missing some important players again last weekend. Perhaps most importantly, losing Evie Lawrence from the top line has had the biggest impact on their season, although they could welcome in new signing Cadence Deer for this one. But games between the Beacons and the Lightning are notoriously close, and this latest clash would be no different. A powerful shot from Mila Peroni was sent through the low slot, with Laura Sear on hand to get a redirect that deflected off Beacon standing goalie Scarlett Richardson's stick and into the net with 34 seconds left in the middle session. It was a cruel blow, especially as Scarlett, who was making her first WNIHL appearance of the season, put in an outstanding performance between the pipes. Whitley were not to be denied though, and soon forged back ahead inside the opening 5 minutes of the final period when Steph Towns fired home a juicy rebound that was sitting invitingly on the edge of the crease following a powerful shot from Caitlin Morrison. Sometimes games have a script written for them, and Steph Towns getting on the score sheet against Guildford was one of those occasions. Whitley have often found it difficult to protect 1-goal leads against a fast-skating Lightning side, but when they went 3-1 ahead with 12 minutes to go, it seemed to break the visitors' resistance. Abby Coulshaw firing high over the ever-impressive Marley Easton in the Lightning net when she roofed it down the middle from Caitlin Morrison and Becky Kastner-Wood. After that, Whitley could relax somewhat and played out the game with some nice hockey. The result moves the Beacons onto 3 wins for a season and 6 points as the battle between themselves, Guildford, and next weekend's opponents, Kingston Diamonds, continues. After the game, I spoke to Guildford Lightning defender Sam Payne, as well as standing goalie for the Whitley Bay Beacons, Scarlett Richardson. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today I'm catching up with Guildford Lightning defender Sam Payne. And first of all, Sam, thank you for joining me. Disappointing result for the Lightning today, but once again, it was another close game throughout, wasn't it?
Yeah, we always have a very close game with Whitley Bay. It's always competitive and it's always end-to-end.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, after last season, Guildford got 1 win and then there was 3 draws. So I guess Whitley were probably due one. But again, you know, it was fine margins and throughout there was just, well, both sides could have won. Either team could have got the go-ahead goal and it just happened to be Whitley.
Yeah, at the end of the second when it was 1-1, it was definitely, anything could happen. I did figure it would be whoever got the next goal would win. And as you say, it was very fine margins, could have been any play. Both teams had so many chances and just may not necessarily have gone in or hit the post or whatever, but it was hard work.
Regardless of the actual scoreline, it's always a good matchup between the two sides. Always a joy to see Guildford come here because you're an exciting side to watch, really, aren't you? There's a lot of young skaters there, a lot of good skaters. And it leads to what is exciting games.
We do have a lot of youngsters, and a lot of them are getting a lot of experience in the Elite League, which is really good, build on their confidence, and they've got good heads on them. So it's just gaining more and more experience in the Elite League and playing with those proper world-class players like Coleshaw and Towns and Casey Trail, Morrison, all the rest of it. So it's just about gaining that experience and knowing when to do the right things at the right time.
Yeah, for the likes of yourself and Beth Hill, you've got a really important role on this team, haven't you, really, to help these youngsters on their way?
Yeah, there's a lot of guiding going on, which you can only do in certain situations in games, so you have to just take it as it comes. But they all take stuff on board and they're all listening, so it will come and it will build.
Yeah, it's been a lot of change to the lineup this season with players coming and going, so I guess it's just nice to get a couple more in this week as well, and thinking of Cadence Deer, who had a solid debut.
Yeah, she had a good little game. Yeah, it's interesting to see how she'll do and how she'll develop. We've had a big break in fixtures, so obviously we're going to start having another run now. So we'll hopefully build up a bit more momentum, try and get the win tomorrow against Streatham.
Yeah, and best of luck with that. Obviously a big win last week against Kingston. So, I mean, it's quite a battle now, doesn't it? It was a distinct sort of three teams at the bottom between Whitley, Guildford and Kingston. So it's whoever wins that mini-league will likely be going to the playoffs, and whoever loses it will also be going to the playoffs, but not in the game they'd want to be playing in.
No, it's going to be a very tight race for the rest of the season, for sure.
Well, just looking ahead to that Streatham game, they might potentially be missing a couple of players, so it's maybe a good chance to be playing them.
Potentially, yeah. We'll have to see. We'll have to see who turns up, and we'll take it as it comes.
Well, as I say, best of luck with that, Sam, and always a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers.
Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today I'm catching up with Beacon's goalie, Scarlett Richardson. So, first of all, Scarlett, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Great to have you in for this one. You came in as an emergency loan signing for this game. What was your thoughts on the game?
I thought it was really good. The atmosphere was really good. The team, really welcoming, and they never gave up. And they just kept pressuring, and just really good teamwork. Yeah,
obviously your first time playing on this team, so it's probably always a little bit difficult as you get used to the defence in front of you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult when you're walking, just helping out. Sometimes you've never been playing with that team, but all the girls were dead welcoming. They spoke to me, even when I came into the room, and the D were great, and we were just talking. So yeah,
that's great to hear. 3-1 win for a Beacon, so you've more than played your part in helping us get the win today, so thank you for that. Just the one goal that went past you, a little bit probably frustrating for you because it come off a redirect and you can't really do much about them, can you?
Yeah, it came off the bottom of my stick and went up, but I'm not fussed, I'm not going to get my head down, it's just one goal. Yeah, move on.
Well, exactly. I mean, you look very confident and composed out there, so it's great to see. You must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, most people within the WNIHL remember you from your time with the Solihull Vixens. You won a couple of championships while you were there. So, and obviously your first game back in the Women's League for a season. Have you missed it at all?
To be fair, it was actually really good. It's a lot different from going back to women from just doing men's. But it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it.
That's good to hear. And obviously, you know this venue well. You were here earlier in the season with the Sheffield Scimitars. So, how have you found it this season playing in the men's league?
Really good. A lot more harder shots. It pushes you to be better and see different angles and just getting used to being faster, so using strength and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, that's great, and thank you very much for your time, and you're welcome back anytime for the Beacons, I'm sure. So,
thank you.
Thank you. We move now on to Division 1 North, where Solway Sharks took on Kingston Diamonds in what would turn out to be an exciting matchup. Kingston took an early lead off a well-worked goal by captain Ketz Robinson, whose shot from Mia Forbes just squeaked past Lizzie Meikle in the Sharks' net. But Cassie McGregor, who caused Kingston all sorts of problems the last time the two sides met in Dumfries, soon had the Sharks back level, finishing off Kate Parker's assist before the end of the opening period. Solway continued the pressure into the second, with a tremendous display keeping the pressure on the Kingston net throughout the period. Credit to Kingston goalie Emily Johnson for some excellent saves, making 16 in the middle session alone and 32 in total across the game. McGregor would score again late in the period to give the Sharks their first lead of the game, Rose Abbott registering an assist on the play. The Sharks knew the Diamonds would come out in force in the third, with only a single goal separating the sides. Continuing as they had done in the first two periods, Solway set the tone and went further ahead with another 2 goals. Emily Duffy bagged the first from Abby Turner before McGregor completed a hat-trick 3 minutes later off a Michelle Croucher feed, making the score 4-1. With 3 minutes remaining, Kingston pulled a goal back on the power play, Izzy Oswin netting from a Ketz Robinson assist, but Solway stayed strong and saw out the game to rack up a win against the league leaders, who dropped their first points of the season. Solway's player of the game went to Lizzie Meikle with a 96% save percentage from 51 shots, and the Sharks' hardest worker hat went to Sarah Wilson for an excellent defensive display. Kingston Diamonds would have a Scottish double-header weekend to forget, as they suffered a second straight defeat. The result was particularly costly, coming as it did against their direct title rivals, Caledonia Steel Queens. After 6 long weeks without a game, the Steel Queens returned to action with another exciting matchup against Kingston. The previous 2 meetings between the sides were also close affairs, and this was no different, as both sides traded blows. Sophie Campbell gave the home side the lead from Claire Turnbull at 5:16, but Kingston was soon back level 3 minutes later when Evie Tyndale scored from Kate Taylor. But within seconds, Caledonia were back ahead, thanks to Kat Eastwood's first goal for the club. The Whitley Bay-based player, who is naturally a defender, is also very good on the wing, and proved just why when she netted from Katie Trachtenberg and Jess Malloy at 9:33. Campbell bagged her second 5 minutes later to give Caledonia a 3-1 lead after she found the net from Isabel Johnson. Kingston, who were playing Ruby Newlands on defence, cut the deficit 5 minutes into the second period when Lydia Lutwich netted for Melissa Veal and Mia Forbes. But little over a minute later, the home side restored their 2-goal advantage with what was perhaps the snipe of the season. Good zone entry and puck support from Caitlin Morrison and Sophie Campbell enabled them to pick out Claire Turnbull, who rifled home with an excellent release over Emily Johnson in the Diamonds' goal from the top of the face-off circle. Kingston made it a 1-goal game once again inside the first 2 minutes of the final session when Lydia Lutwich netted again, this time on the power play from Tyndale's assist. But in a period which would be decided with power play goals, Caledonia eked out a 2-goal advantage once more with just over 8 minutes remaining, defender Michelle Davidson scoring from Turnbull and Maggie Agnew. Lydia Lutwich would net for the second time on the power play and the third time in the game when she scored at 53:19 from Evie Tyndale again and Mia Forbes for a hat-trick marker. But despite the excellent goal-scoring prowess from the youngster, she was unable to draw her side back level and the points stayed in Murrayfield. Caledonia's player of the game went to Sophie Campbell, who had a 3-point morning, along with a terrific 2-way performance. Queen's blinder was awarded to Tate Archibald, who made some massive saves down the stretch and played her part in securing the 2 points. All good things come to an end, as they say, and the Diamonds found that out to their cost as their unbeaten streak came to an abrupt end over that weekend against 2 solid opponents. The following weekend, though, Diamonds got back to winning ways and clinched a Division 1 playoff berth after beating Nottingham Vipers 4-0 in Hull. Lydia Lutwich netted at 8:59 from Grace Cooper to give the Diamonds a lead, with Evie Tyndale doubling the advantage before the period was over from Kate Taylor. Taylor then scored herself early into the second period from Ketz Robinson and Tyndale before Cooper completed the scoring at 46:24 with an unassisted goal. Swindon Topcats moved joint top of the Division 1 South standings with a 7-0 home win over a short-benched MK Falcons side. Arriving with just 10 outskaters, the Falcons did remarkably well to restrict Swindon to just 7 goals, with goalie Kaylee Doyle making 38 saves. Swindon took the lead at 16:54 with a Lily Endicott short-handed marker, Amelia Williams collecting an assist on the play. The home side doubled their lead just before the end of the period when Ellie Wallace scored from Endicott's assist. Ellie Shaw netted in the second period before Wallace scored her second of the game. Once again, her partnership with Endicott paying dividends as they combined on the play. The Wiltshire side ran up the scoreline late in the third when Shaw grabbed her second of the game, this time from a Flo Shermer pass, while Katie Reid found the net from Miley Drazy and Leah Wallace completed the scoring with an unassisted goal inside the final 2 minutes. Marley Easton and Shannon Mercer shared the Top Cat shutout, while Leah Wallace took home the Player of the Game award. Milton Keynes showed some moments of really good competitive hockey, but it was always going to be tough with a short bench against a quality team with players that have Elite League experience. Josie Milton, who is on a 2-way deal with Cambridge Kodiaks, was named the Falcons Player of the Game. The following weekend saw the Chelmsford Cobras take to the road when they travelled to Cardiff to face the Comets in their third matchup this season. The first period saw the Cobras come out strong offensively and they grabbed an early goal. Having received a pass from Christina Powell, Steph Ferrier stretched the puck to a break-in Teresa Plankova, who went on to net the first goal of the game at 3 minutes 58. Continuing their offensive pursuit and defensively limiting the Comets' chances on net, they were soon 2 goals ahead, Plankova netting her second of the game at 14:11 from Katie Smith. The second period saw the Comets gain momentum and they cut the deficit 42 seconds in when Erin Roach scored from Luan Luzo and Liv Taylor. Cobras responded 8 minutes later with another goal from Katie Smith, putting them back into a 2-goal lead, Zinnia Quilter collecting an assist on the play. The remainder of the period saw opportunities at both ends, but neither team adding to their tally. Entering the third, the Cobras didn't ease off from their offensive production and continued to throw the puck at the net, looking for any opportunity to further increase the lead. Comets were still looking to pull a goal back and were rewarded midway through the period, Maddie Davis scoring from Erin Roach and Liv Taylor at 49:18. Now only leading by 1, Cobras continued to defend well against the Comets as they looked to equalise. In the final minute, Cardiff pulled goalie Becca Egerstrom for the extra attacker, but Kezia Birchall gained possession for the Cobras and slotted the puck into the empty net to end the game with a 4-2 win. Chelmsford Player of the Game went to Teresa Plankova, with the Spirit of the Game going to Lily Bryant. Cardiff Player of the Game went to Becca Egerstrom, who had a stellar game in net, continually shutting down the Cobras' offence and stopping a total of 48 out of 51 shots. Eggs was a legend on the ice, backstopping the Comets and giving them the ability to push forward and chase a game. Well deserved, Eggsy. A tough result for MK Falcons saw them fall to a 5-1 loss at home to the Firebees. With a fiery first period from the Falcons, it seemed like it could have been a much closer score than what it ended up being, especially after they had taken a 1-0 lead off a Sammy Ruff goal at 11:41. Caitlin Barraclough and Harriet Palmer collecting assists on the play for what was a massively short bench side once again. Firebees hit back in the middle session though, Suzanne Antelmi scoring a couple of minutes in to draw her side back level. Isabel Bennett then scored the go-ahead goal from Sam Phillips soon after, before the latter converted on the power play 3 minutes later. The Firebees would score off a second power play 23 seconds into the final period when Bennett grabbed her second of the game. Antelmi and Talia Derrison-Wright collecting the assists. Grace Riley completed the scoring inside the final 5 minutes of the game with an unassisted goal. Milton Keynes Player of the Game went to Sammy Ruff, with the Firebees award going to Suzanne Antelmi. The battle at the top of Division 1 South continues between Swindon Top Cats and Bristol Huskies, with yet another exciting matchup settled by just a single goal. Jess Jones gave Bristol the lead 3 minutes in when she netted for Mila Peroni and Katie Edgington in what has to be one of the top scoring lines in the country. The trio combined again early into the second period, with Edgington this time putting home from Becky Osman. But Swindon soon brought themselves back into the contest when Amelia Williams scored from Lily Endicott and Emma Comer at 34:50 and made it a 1-goal game. The Top Cats drew back level at 1:56 into the final period when Miley Drazy made it 2-2. But Bristol scored what proved to be the game's winner a couple of minutes later when Jones scored her second of the clash from Osman's assist. The result puts Bristol back top of the standings with one meeting left between the two sides. Marley Easton made 30 saves for Swindon, with Gemma Davis making 22 stops for Bristol. Swindon's player of the game went to Miley Drazy, with Bristol's going to Matilda Ravel. The Beacons Division 2 side came up against a strong Sheffield Shadows outfit on Sunday as they slipped to a 6-2 reverse at home. Whitley were without injured pair Paige Brooks and Claire Wilson, while defender Dee Vorse was unavailable. Sheffield could boast former Beacons elite defender Abby Robotham in their lineup, with the GB Under-18 international making her first appearance back at Hillheads since helping the side earn promotion back to the top flight. The Shadows started the game strongly, applying a lot of pressure early on and making it difficult for the Beacons to get out of their defensive zone. That pressure eventually told inside the final 5 minutes of the opening period when Whitley failed to clear a puck after both Athene Idiabor-Moses and Phoebe Gregg had chances blocked before Wallace Fennessy found the net with a low-drilled effort that beat Beacon's goalie Ruth Palmer through traffic. Just over a minute later and Sheffield doubled their advantage. Elsa Williams' clever pass delayed entry into the zone just long enough for Eleanor Shaw to fire home across goal from the hash marks. By now, Whitley's heads were starting to drop, and 34 seconds later, the Shadows added a third. Once again, they were unable to clear a danger as Elsa Williams had time to control the puck with her foot from Amber Usher's pass before picking out Eleanor Shaw in the mid-slot to score past Palmer whilst using a defender as a screen. The end of the period couldn't come quick enough for the Beacons to regroup. They put in a much better performance during the middle session, but couldn't prevent Sheffield from further adding to their lead when Amber Usher released Elsa Williams, who again had time on the puck to advance and get a shot off with a well-executed effort. Whitley were creating plenty of short-handed scoring opportunities whenever they were on the penalty kill, and it was whilst they were a player short that they grabbed their first goal. Joy Hurst was sent to a box with what appeared to be a very soft tripping call, but things were soon evened up when Sheffield's Rowan Yellett Bilby was called for high sticking 31 seconds later. With the teams now playing 4-on-4 and the Beacons about to go on to a power play 2 seconds later, leading scorer Emily Duffy collected a loose puck inside her defensive zone before she sped up the ice and burst through the Shadows' defensive pairing to get in on goal. Once in behind, she left Sheffield's blue liners in her, shadow before rifling home emphatically beyond Kirsty Robson, who could do nothing to stop it. With the home side now on a power play, they continue to push, their goal giving them the confidence to take the game to Sheffield. With the visitors just returning to even strength, Rowan Allen did well to carry the puck into the zone before finding Tanya Royce to the left of goal. Before the centre could get the puck under control, Beacon's captain Joy Hurst nipped in and finished with a trademark goal where she had time to compose herself before steering a well-executed shot high over Robson. That made the score 4-2, but virtually straight from the ensuing face-off, Shadows hit back. Chloe Carter carried the puck into the zone, then began to drift wide to her right before cutting back inside and finding the net. A goal early on into the final period proved to be enough to make the game safe. Chloe Carter's shot was pushed out but sat invitingly in the slot. Emma Taylor-Lonsdale reacted quickest and fired home through a screen once again for 6-2. That ended any thoughts of a Beacon's comeback in the third, but late on in the game a melee broke out with two players from each side earning themselves a trip to the box. Given how quickly the incident ignited and how equally it was brought to an end, a lot of credit has to go to senior referee Jamie Briggs and her officials. They got the calls spot on given everything that was happening across the ice. With tempers cooled, all four players returned to the ice and the game played out in a respectful manner. It was a disappointing result for sure, but in Sheffield the Beacons ran into a very strong side that will push for a playoff spot now. And, given last Sunday's performance, they would be good value for it too. Kat Eastwood was named player of the game for the Beacons, and it was thoroughly well deserved as the young defender who was playing on the wing brought energy and intensity on every shift, as well as looking to force turnovers and push for a goal. On now to Division 2 South, where a great win for Streatham Storm saw them come away from Peterborough with a 7-1 result against the Phantoms. Peterborough took an early lead, scoring the first goal at 6 minutes 12, coming via the power play. Kitty Evans finding the net from Hannah Messerasova and Peyton Braylant. But the Storm denied them any further goals and played a great game as a solid unit to score 7 unanswered goals. Hayley Schultz brought the South London side back level at 9:41 before Jazz Wilson put the Storm into the lead a couple of minutes later. Olive Broadbank then put Streatham further ahead at 36-35 before the scoring burst of 3 goals in 8 minutes towards the beginning of the third period made the game safe. Schultz betted her second at 41-19 from Sinead Jennings before Wilson also grabbed her second. Not to be outdone, Broadbank scored her second of the game from Amy Jackson before Schultz completed a hat-trick inside the final 5 minutes from Jennings. Peterborough player of the game went to Emma McCarthy, who put everything on the line to stop the Storm's attack. She even ended up in the net herself after a tough battle. Emma continuously showed what it takes to be a defender against Streatham. Storm player of the game went to Hayley Schultz. The Cambridge Kodiaks moved another step closer to playoff qualification with a massive win against a resurgent Solent Amazon side. Short-benched and giving a debut to Kodiak's B regular, Yuyan Jiang, Cambridge had to work hard to get to a Solent goal. Eventually, Ellie Goldstone found the smallest gap to beat Charlie Fisby at 15-14 with an assist from Christina Ashley. The second period was a tense affair with both teams going close. Eventually, Solent's Lucy Gates equalised after a turnover in the Kodiak zone. Kelly Stevenson collecting the assist. The third period was even tighter, but the Kodiaks were starting to control possession. They finally got the breakthrough at 52-41 when Christina Ashley scored unassisted after she had cut in from the Amazons' blue line and ripped a wrist shot top shelf to give Cambridge the win. Player of the game went to Yuyan Jiang for an excellent debut. Leeds Roses have one hand on their North Cup Group trophy after an 8-1 victory at home to Whitley Bay Beacons, which moves the West Yorkshire side onto 6 points from their 3 wins with just 1 game left to play. Kirsty Hodgins gave the Roses the lead 5 minutes in when she put home Sian Simpson's assist. Catherine Rooney doubled the lead midway through the session when she scored from Emma Allender's feed. Holding a 2-goal lead heading into a middle session, it wasn't long before the home side added to their tally against what was a severely depleted Beacon side who were missing 7 regulars from their lineup, 6 of which usually play forward, meaning there was a distinct lack of offensive firepower. Morgan Walker scored twice off Taylor Simmons' feeds, with Eve Sadler and Hodgins also adding assists. Kim Sharples made it 5-0 by the end of the second period. Whitley did pull one back 33 seconds into the final period when captain Joy Hurst scored from Havana Tilley. But Leeds were soon back on the front foot when Jazz Daniels scored from Simmons before CJ Harrison made it 7-1 from Simpson and Simmons, the latter posting a 4-point game, completed the scoring from Walker and Daniel. Beacon's goalie Ruth Palmer was named player of the game after facing 57 shots. In South Cup 1, the Cambridge Kodiaks moved within 2 points of winning their group with a win over a makeshift Peterborough Phantom side that included Kodiak's goalie Alice Beardmore. The Kodiaks got off to a strong start with Julia Mabry scoring after just 59 seconds from a Sarah Carvenan assist. 3 minutes later, Mabry was back on the board again, this time converting an Alicia Anderson assist. Cody Dogood halved the lead, pouncing on a turnover in the neutral zone, with Hannah Messerasova collecting an assist on the play. But soon after, Christina Ashley scored unassisted to make it 3. While scoreless, the second period saw the Kodiaks outshoot the visitors 25-3, Beardmore coming up big, but also Alicia Jackson stopping the Phantoms' rush chances. Cambridge came out flying in the third and earned an early power play opportunity, which they punished through Ashley from Anderson. Peterborough pulled one back through Hannah Messerasova after she finished Caitlin Barraclough's pass, but the Kodiaks continued to pressure the Phantoms As Sarah Dawson sat for tripping, Alicia Anderson notched a power play marker from Ruby Allen at 50-43 before another phantom tripping penalty was met with another power play goal from Yoa Hoshizaki at 53-13, with the assist going to Catherine Leake. Julia Mabry then looped around the zone to find Alicia Anderson at the back door 19 seconds later to round off the Kodiak scoring. Mabry collecting an assist on the play. Phantoms picked up another goal at the end of the game, courtesy of Dogood for Mesarasova, but the Kodiak skated off with the 7-3 win. A massive well done to guest goalie Alice Beardmore after facing over 80 shots and only conceding a total of 7, leaving her with a save rate of over 90%. Player of the game went to Hannah Mesarasova, who showed some amazing skills in the weekend's game, even skating from centre ice to the net and scoring the first goal of the game. Chelmsford Pythons were looking good as they embarked on their journey to Coventry. They had narrowly beaten Coventry in the previous cup game, so were looking to establish themselves at the top of the standings. The first period wasn't as smooth as the Essex club were hoping for, though, finding it a little hard to get into their stride and the tempo and flow that they had become accustomed to playing in recent weeks. The game was an intense back-and-forth battle, with each side creating scoring opportunities. The Pythons' resilience paid off when their newest star, Freya Price, broke up the ice and netted the first goal, giving the Pythons a 1-0 lead. Just when it seemed they would end the period on top, the Phoenix managed to score a dramatic goal with only 3 seconds of the session remaining. Jenny Adams tying the game at 1-1. With a mental reset during the period break, Chelmsford started the second much more determined to play their style of hockey, and within minutes Freya Price struck again, scoring her second goal of the game, assisted by captain Ildi Sumeg. The Pythons settled into their groove, moving the puck with confidence and precision. At 34-14, Sumeg found the back of the net, assisted by Kezia Birchall, extending the lead to 3-1. The Pythons then showcased their defensive prowess, ensuring no further goals were conceded in the final 6 minutes of the session. The third period was a true testament to the spirit and grit of both teams. It was another round of end-to-end hockey, with each side pushing hard to capitalise on their chances. The Pythons dug deep, and with just 9 minutes to go, Kezia Birchall scored the fourth goal, assisted by Freya Price, making it a goal for each of the forwards on her line, and completed the scoring at 4-1. The Chelmsford defence had performed superbly, closing down rushes early and limiting Coventry Phoenix to just 17 shots on goal, compared to the Pythons' 45. The victory was a confidence booster and testament to the team's hard work and resilience. Pythons' player of the game went to Freya Price, with the hardest worker award going to Sophie Smith. In Cup Group 2, a hard-fought game between Slough Sirens and Haringey Greyhounds ended with the North London side getting the edge in a 7-goal thriller. Jade Jones opened the scoring for Haringey 2 minutes in when she put home from Caitlin Trudel, but Slough were back level a couple of minutes later, Tanya Bone scoring unassisted. The home side would forge ahead just over a minute later when Sharon Khan scored from Elise Willoughby. Haringey, though, hit back to level the scores a minute after that, Jenna Johnson netting from Annie McMahon. But the Sirens retook the lead at 9:34 when Esther Haskins made it 3-2. Incredibly, we had 5 goals before the midpoint of the opening session for what was an explosive start. Haringey equalised for a second time early into the second period when Jade Jones netted again. The game was tied at 3-3 until the last period when Jones completed a hat-trick to make it 4-3. Sirens battled hard to try and bring it back level, but the game ended with the Greyhounds taking the win against a side from the division above. Sirens' player of the game went to Sharon Khan, with the star of the game going to Mallory Davis. The Solent Amazons may have already claimed South Cup Group 3, but don't try telling Oxford Midnight Stars that after they put in a comprehensive performance at home to the Bristol Huskies with an 8-1 win. Jodie West Attrell gave the Midnights a lead at 5:23 from Iona Todd, before Lauren Summers made it 2-0 19 seconds later. 3 goals in less than a minute before the end of the first period gave Oxford a commanding lead. Charmaine Coles scored from Charlie Clements before Jodie West Attrell combined with Lauren Summers twice in 16 seconds to make it 5-0. Bristol did cut the arrears at 25-52 when Amy Parfitt netted from Chloe Hodge, but 2 more goals a minute apart made the game safe for Oxford. Cole scored her second at 32-34 from Nicola Zabinska, before Amy Haddon netted from Clements and Zabinska at 33-38. Zabinska completed the scoring when she found the net inside the final 5 minutes of the game from Lauren Summers. We finish this week with a look at the under-16s, and in the north, Deeside Dragons came out on top 7-6 in what was a close-fought game away to bottom-of-the-table Leeds Knights. In a dynamic and fast-paced contest, Deeside standout GB player Sophie Davis impressively netted all 7 of her side's goals, with the final one arriving just 23 seconds before the game ended to clinch a dramatic victory. Alicia Smith, Millicent Fletcher, Caitlin Colquitt-Gould and Violet Foster-Noble all registered assists for the Dragons. Leeds delivered their best performance of the season, with Vakare Vaitila Vachute and Nadia Molenda both scoring hat-tricks, which contributed to the team's 6 goals. The former also registered an assist for the Knights, as did Grace Eggert. Leeds took an early lead before Deeside hit back to go 3-1 ahead, but despite the West Yorkshire side getting a goal back before the break, both sides exchanged goals in the opening minute of the second period, before Leeds drew level at 4-all at 16:41. Deeside would edge ahead again before Leeds levelled 20 seconds into the third period, but incredibly Davis scored her 6th of the game 19 seconds later to make it advantage Dragons once again. With yet another Leeds equaliser arriving 4 minutes after that, it appeared both sides would have to settle for a point. However, Davis had other ideas, and when she netted her 7th goal of the game, she ensured both would be travelling back with her to North Wales. Dragons' Hardest Worker award went to Sophie Davis after she scored the winning goal with a lovely assist from MVP Violet Foster-Noble. This was also Vi's first game after recently hitting that all-important age of 10 to fulfil her dream of playing in the girls' team. Mia Lindsay was named Leeds MVP for her exceptional hockey intelligence and outstanding defensive skills, even while facing one of the league's top players. The award for the hardest worker could have been shared by all Knights team members due to their remarkable effort, but it was ultimately given to Miley Jessup for her stellar defensive play. Eva Selassie put in a captain's performance to lead her Sheffield Shadows team to a much-needed victory over Manchester Storm. Sheffield claimed an important 7-2 win at home to the Storm, which just about keeps their playoff hopes alive. Alexandra Vivesi gave Manchester the lead before the 3-minute mark, but Molly Houghton levelled the scores midway through the opening period when she scored from Selassie and Maddie Walker. Walker then put the South Yorkshire side into the lead at 12:38, from Matilda Wilson and Libby Foster. Sheffield went further ahead early into the second period when Selassie netted to make it 3-1 just 9 seconds after a restart. Nancy Baker made it 4 3 minutes later when she found the net from Amy Thomas. Selassie netted for a second time at 23:58, recording her 3rd point of the game before Wilson made it 6-1 just 22 seconds before the end of the period. Heidi Flame Parnham made it 7-1 a minute into the final session before Manchester notched a late consolation when Vivesi scored her 2nd of the game. Amy Hobson was named Shadows Player of the Game. The Iron Maidens returned to action after a 4-week layoff against Manchester Storm, but the Storm were quick to take control, scoring twice 19 seconds apart early into the game. Lachlan LaBelle opened the scoring at 6:10 before Emmy Kariainen netted from Ava Eyre moments later. Eyre then made it 3-0 45 seconds into the middle session when she scored from Alexandra Vivesi before Kariainen converted on a power play before the period was over, with Eyre collecting her 2nd assist and 3rd point of the game. Vivesi scored early into the final period, LaBelle and Ruth Evans collecting assists. A couple of minutes later, Caledonia grabbed a consolation when Drew Henderson found the net for what was her 3rd goal in as many games. Despite the final score ending up 5-1 to the Storm, Caledonia can be proud of their efforts and enjoyed what was a challenging matchup. Drew Henderson picked up the Caledonia Player of the Game. Megan MacArthur picked up the Heavy Metal Award for her endeavour and leadership. Manchester's Player of the Game went to Katie LaBelle, with the hardest worker award going to Sandy Vivesi. Sheffield Shadows hit the road to Manchester for a return game after their big win at home the previous weekend. The team showed incredible spirit and determination on the ice. Storm took the lead inside the final 2 minutes of the opening period when Alexandra Vivesi converted on a power play from Ava Eyre. Sheffield tied the game midway through the final period when Eva Selassie netted from Molly Houghton. Despite their best efforts, the elusive winning goal just wouldn't come for the Shadows, and the game ended in an exciting draw. Sheffield's player of the game went to Kira Daniels, who was an absolute star in the net. Manchester's MVP went to Emmy Kariainen, with the hardest worker award going to Ava Eyre. Bristol moved back to the top of the under-16 South standings with a 7-2 win in Telford over Midlands Wrekin Raiders. Emily Parfitt and Amelia Worth both bagged hat-tricks as the Puppies kept it interesting in the race for the playoff places. Worth opened the scoring at 5:43 when she scored from Molly Lehman, before she converted on the power play 3 minutes later from Poppy Shepherd. Parfitt soon opened her account for the day inside the final 2 minutes of the opening period when she put home Evie Hunt's assist. Parfitt would grab her second early into the second period from Shepherd before the Raiders grabbed one back. Maggie Whitmore netting from Alexis Ridgway at 28-12. But a minute later, Worth completed a hat-trick to make it 5-1. Poppy Shepherd put the Puppies further ahead early into the final period when she scored from Evie Corson and Parfitt. Telford snatched another back at 38-24 when Madison Silverthorne scored her first goal for the team from Ellie Dowell. But the final word went to Parfitt, who completed a hat-trick inside the final 3 minutes of the game when she finished an assist from Daisy Cox. Raiders' spirit of the game went to Ruby Coxworth.
Please make sure you're following us across all social media platforms
to keep you fully up to date with all things WNIHL.
On Facebook,
follow Ice Maidens, the voice of women's ice hockey,
and check out the website at icemaidens.wordpress.com.
On Instagram and on Twitter,
you can find the podcast
at ZPG Ice Maidens.
And for YouTube,
you can subscribe to Zero Pucks Given.
Please like, follow, share and subscribe.
It all does wonders for spreading the good word
of the ZPG network.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.